We are taught the same sequence from childhood: maintain perfect attendance, memorize the textbook, and collect the degree. The expectation is that this level of compliance leads to a life of financial security. However, the outcomes are changing. In India, over 40% of graduates under the age of 25 are currently unemployed. Even at the IITs, the country's premier engineering colleges, hundreds of students are now finishing their studies without a single job offer. This lack of placement stands in stark contrast to the world's most successful figures. Bill Gates didn't achieve his position by following the standard academic progression. Mark Zuckerberg followed a similar path, leaving the system behind to build his own. These individuals didn't wait for the traditional validation of a degree to begin creating value. The current market reflects this disconnect. Today, a commercial truck driver in the United States can earn 10 times the average salary of a specialized engineer in India. When top-tier degrees fail to provide placement and blue-collar trades out-earn white-collar professionals, the traditional academic promise reveals itself as an outdated model. For those who do find work, the cycle often begins with financial pressure. Low starting salaries make it difficult to save, leading many to take on debt immediately, financing a home and a car to establish a life. This debt creates a specific kind of pressure. With monthly mortgage and car payments looming, the fear of a layoff becomes a constant, quiet background noise in your daily life. This financial vulnerability often results in total compliance. You find yourself accepting the orders of superiors and suppressing your own creative ideas, simply because you cannot afford the risk of being fired. Day after day, the routine of commuting and performing unfulfilling tasks becomes the new baseline. Over time, the exhaustion of the work week begins to feel like a normal part of adulthood. The anxiety and stagnation felt by many corporate workers are the predictable results of a system designed to prioritize reliability over individual prosperity. To understand the origin of this design, we have to go back to 1806. Following a surprising military defeat by Napoleon's army, the leaders of Prussia began looking for a way to ensure their soldiers would never fail them again. They realized their army lost because their soldiers were working independently on the battlefield instead of following their general's orders without question. Their solution was a new kind of social engineering, an 8-year system of compulsory education. It was the first time a state mandated that every child be processed through one curriculum. This diagram illustrates the core objective. The Prussian model was designed to eliminate free will, replacing it with a reliable command and response mechanism. The curriculum provided instruction to execute a maneuver, but avoided education that would lead a student to question the military structure. By focusing on obedience, Prussia created a generation of soldiers who would follow any order. They had invented a blueprint for mass-produced compliance. As the Industrial Revolution took hold, factory owners faced a similar problem. They needed thousands of workers for their assembly lines, but most people were self-sufficient farmers who had no desire to work in a factory. Global industrialists recognized that the Prussian school system could solve their labor shortage by training children to endure long hours of repetitive tasks. Through this system, generations of families were conditioned to believe that selling their labor to a factory was the only legitimate way to earn a living. This map shows how the model spread, standardizing populations to fit the economy. In 1835, Thomas Macaulay introduced it to India to create a clerical class. The British Empire needed culturally aligned employees working as subservient administrators. The modern school day still reflects this history. The bells that divide your day into rigid blocks and the standardized tests used to rank your worth are tools inherited from a time when the world needed compliant workers, not creative thinkers. The world has moved past the industrial era, but our schools are still teaching students how to be 19th century factory workers. Relying on a single employer for security is becoming increasingly difficult. With mass layoffs in the tech sector and top graduates struggling to find work, the traditional path of job security now carries the risk of total income loss with no backup plan. Moving forward requires a change in focus. Success in the current economy favors those who can solve specific problems independently, rather than those who simply follow a manager's instructions. While degrees focus on theory over years of study, the internet allows for the rapid acquisition of high-value skills. You can now learn directly from people who have already achieved success in the fields you're interested in. Breaking the cycle requires you to stop looking for a job to be given to you. Instead, you have to identify real-world needs and develop the specific skills required to meet them. For parents, this means shifting the focus away from academic rankings. A child's mark sheet is a poor predictor of their future in an economy that values adaptability over memorization. Highlighting a child's natural curiosity and encouraging them to explore real-world interests provides a much stronger foundation than forcing them to compete for the highest grade in a standardized system. This chart shows the potential of a drop here. Instead of studying for a single entrance exam, it becomes a loop of exploration. When used to build a business or master a craft, this upward trajectory bypasses traditional career limitations entirely. You can follow the path laid out by the Prussian model, or you can choose to halt the process and develop the skills you need. Wealth and autonomy are rarely found by following the crowd. They are the rewards of those who step off the conveyor belt and decide to build something for themselves.